recorded from a secret location in the city that moves mountains.
Greetings.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick some more, and I'm all out of bubblegum still.
How's it going today, Dirty Dan, my friend?
It's Goose. It is a going.
Don't that music just get you jived up? I've asked you that before.
It does.
Turning it back up just a little bit.
Heck yeah.
Now I'm going to fade it back down.
No.
It is another day, another dollar. I wish that, well, I'm looking forward to the day that we can do this and make a living at doing this. What about you?
Maybe refer to last week's date of 2254.
So you, what you're saying is you still have a couple more years to go before you could retire.
I mean, and truthfully, like, this stems back from college. Like, I didn't make any money doing the show, obviously, then.
Right.
And I ended up devoting a very, very large chunk of time by the end of it to that, still not making any money.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like being a musician for me. It's a passion. It's fun for me to do. I don't want to make any real sort of money doing it, because then it feels like a job.
Well, but here is the thing. You can go back and listen to episode 52, and we talked about, what some of our goals were with the show. And if we ever did reach the point to where, it would be like hitting the lottery. And I'm going to be honest. Maybe higher. And it depends on, everything, on like a show budget, what the salary would be, all that. I say we keep everything like it is. The only thing that I would really like to hire would be a professional sound engineer. But for us as amateurs, I think we've got a really good sound, really.
I agree. And it was even pointed out on an episode here.
Yes,
recently.
it was. Yes, it was at our sound quality,
And it'll never. I just keep the mindset that no matter what sum of money, even if by some grace of higher being out there, we land a live show on Sirius XM.
Yeah,
it'll never be about the money for me. No.
And same here. Now when I want to go in and do this every single day, if we had, maybe, but at the same time, I do understand what you're saying. That would be a lot of work. I don't see how Seth does a daily podcast. I really don't. My hat's off to him. I look up to him. I don't see how he does it. Because just what we do, the podcast and the radio show.
And it's not like he's got short little 20 or 30 minute podcasts. It's not like he's got the same person on every week. No. It's not like he just talks about BS.
Right.
That dude is a machine.
Yes, he is. And his, are all about an hour in length,
Or more.
Yes. And, my hat's off to Seth. I look up to Seth. I'm jealous of Seth because Seth is a young guy. I've got a lot of years on him, but Seth is very talented, and we're blessed and fortunate and lucky to have him, as part of the Here to Chew Bubblegum family. And absolutely. I may also add that you can also now listen to his segment on the radio show and the podcast show as well. So
he's family.
Yes, he is. How has your week been going, my friend?
I wish it was colder, because it's still a little hot.
Now, whenever I see you in person, I'm going to punch you right in the throat for saying that.
You can't reach my throat.
Because
I love you.
How's the weather up there?
It's cold, but it could be colder. I'll bring a step stool for you.
Oh, man. I don't know about you. Again, we're not going to do any listener email this week. We will be coming back and doing listener email next week and having yes, we have, this is our second show that we have in the can. We have an all new episode of Seth and his Mysterious Appalachian Mountains segment, and part 2 of the Spooky Family interview. We got a great response from that last week, and I want to thank the Spooky Family again for coming on. I want
still jealous about that cake.
Oh man,
I'm still jealous about
the cake was delicious. It may not have been nutritious, but it was really, really good. I mean, just the right amount of frosting.
Delicious.
Plus there were some cake pops in it. There were some chocolate covered Oreos, double stuffed chocolate covered Oreos.
Well, dang.
They were really, really good.
They went all out.
Yes, they did, And, I'll save you I'm sorry. I can't save you a piece of the cake. It's already been ate. It's gone. I will buy you a Kit Kat bar the next time we're together.
Oh, give me a break.
But I do want to remind listeners of the show that you can always call, text, or leave a voicemail by calling 606-373-3396. That's 606-373-3396. Keep it clean, and we will play it on the radio. If you do have a question, call that number and ask your question, and we will answer it on the radio show. Again, that number is 606-373-3396. Dirty Dan, how can they email us?
Well, they have several options. They can do goose@heretotchewbubblegum.com, Dirty Dan at heretotchewbubblegum.com, or Rebecca at heretotchewbubblegum.com. They can even email into Ned and Elliot or the show at heretotchewbubblegum@yahoo.com.
And I understand you have a story for us that you're going to tell us about before we jump into Seth's segment. And then from Seth's segment, we're going to go straight in to the Spooky Family interview,
just
part 2.
Back to back to back to back.
That's exactly right.
Well, let me get the front end then.
Okay.
You got strange UFOs flying together over New Jersey that were caught on video. New Jersey is a state that's pretty familiar with paranormal and weird occurrences. They even have their own mysterious legendary creature, the Jersey Devil. Quick side note here. I mean, if anyone's ever been to Jersey, they know how accurate this first sentence was. It doesn't matter where you go, what street corner you're on, what beach you're on, what town you're in, what city you're in. They are definitely some mysterious legendary creatures up there. Anyway, however, something happened a few weeks back in the Garden State that brought the strange happenings there up another notch. There was a bizarre UFO sighting, and it was caught on camera. Video of the incident shows eerie lights over the city of Patterson moving as a group. Resident Lewis Stevens told Pix 11 News that he lost count of how many objects there were and described them as flying white circles that changed into different shapes. Stevens added, "You see it on YouTube, and it's always somewhere out in the Nevada desert somewhere. The shock of it is more like, is this really real? Are we really looking at what we think we're looking at?" He watched the objects for over 5 minutes before they went dark over a nearby hill. I'll send you the video after this.
Okay.
When asked about the sighting, the FAA, the Federal Aviation Administration, looked into it and checked with local air traffic control, but noted that nothing was reported on radar. Shocker. Some people suspect the glowing orbs are actually drones, and Pix 11 checked with an expert on drone flight who said that the lights could have been a part of a rehearsal for a drone flight show that went wrong. It just doesn't make any sense. He stated, "At first, I was kind of puzzled. If you look at any light show, they're all synced together and they're controlled by a computer. If you look at the video, you will see that they're maintaining somewhat of a formation, even though it's kind of a little scrambled. However, no one practicing for a drone light show that night has come forward, or any at all. So the mystery of the objects remains unsolved. If you ever see something strange in the sky, the FAA always urges you to report it to their National UFO Reporting Center. Unless you feel that you or your belongings are in danger, then you should just call the police." Now, I will say,
yes,
we do have a flocker in New Jersey.
Mm-hmm.
They did also confirm this.
Oh, did they really? Did they?
Twice.
Wow. Did they have any any pictures or video, or I mean, even if not, just we need to try to get them on the show just to figure out what they saw.
I think they shared a picture in Telegram.
Okay,
so I'll go back and through, and I will ask them, because there's the conversation between us there, if they'd be willing to come on and talk about it, because I want to say they were in Florence, which is not too far from Patterson.
Right.
So we could definitely do that. But I know when I used to fish on one of the New Jersey's beaches when I lived in PA. And all jokes aside from the dirty jers, there are some very strange things out there.
Now, did you ever see anything strange out when you were fishing?
Oh, yeah. Because stripers, like end of summer, stripers hit the best like overnight, like 2 to 4 a.m.
Right.
I mean, you can just cast and they're jumping out of it before it even hits the water. And there are some very strange things you can see on the horizon and above. Now, I never saw anything like directly above me.
Right.
But there was definitely stuff on the horizon. And I know the earth is not flat because it curves. And it would go from that curve line on up a pretty good 20, 25 degrees. And it was, I don't want to call it regular, but it was semi-regular in showing up. And it was usually the same kind of time. Like when the tide was out, the water was calm, good or fair weather. Not rainy, not overcast, obviously. And it definitely, I always called it like a tic-tac-toe because it just like reminded me it was moving like it was going on a tic-tac-toe board. I don't know what it was. It must have been a drone light show.
Yeah. Well, or it could have been the invisible light communication system from NASA.
Well, no, I couldn't
invisible
have seen it.
lasers.
Invisible.
Well, maybe they were still tweaking it out so it was partially invisible, but you could still see it.
You know what it probably was?
What's that?
Chris Christie's offshore subway factory.
See, I was waiting on that. I was waiting on that.
I don't normally talk bad or wish ill on people, but that man shut down my beach that I paid for as a summer pass so his big old lard butt could sit on it privately for 2 weeks. All the meantime, while he should have been doing his job as governor and he closed down my beach without any sort of
just so he could have it all to himself.
Yes.
Well, but let me ask you a question. If you were governor and you had that authority, wouldn't you do that if you knew it was your last term as governor?
Absolutely not.
Why? If you were governor, what is something that you would do?
Get rid of masks.
Okay. Yeah, I'm going to jot that time down on that one too.
No, but I would honestly have almost like a town poll kind of set up.
Yeah.
And I would want to have the town hall of each town give me the biggest or most predominant thing that they would like to see changed in their community and or the state. Because as my job as governor, it would be to represent and take care of all the residents in my state.
Yeah.
And be the field between the mess that is DC and the residents that I'm governing. And I've never thought it's very fair or appropriate to get left to hang out to dry by these elected officials that we elected and just let everything not even trickle on down, but just go rolling on down and throw us over the edge of the dam from Washington.
Well, here's the thing. And without talking politics, because we don't really we try not to get into politics on the show. We used to have strictly no politics, but the world is such a different time now than what it was when the show started, over 1 year ago. Your good politicians, they either get in trouble for something they had nothing to do with, or
they're the fall man.
Yeah. Or they're set up. There I said it.
And they're still the fall man.
Yes. Do you have anything? Do you have any?
Especially now more than ever, like you said, because the world has changed and everybody's preaching unity and stop the separation. Then step the heck up, be a leader, and show you want to unite people.
My hat's off to you. I totally agree with you. We're going to take a break. We're going to go straight into the Mysterious Appalachian Mountains with Seth Amburgey. And then after that, we're going to go into part 2 of the Spooky Family interview. And we'll be back at the end to close everything up. What are we listening to, Dirty Dan?
You're listening to Here to Chew Bubblegum.
We'll be right back.
Welcome to the Mysterious Appalachian Mountains with Seth and Earl. Earl is out today, and we are blessed enough to have a special guest, Bigfoot researcher David Mills. How are you doing today, sir?
Great. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely, man. And you run a Bigfoot research team called We Are Legend Hunters.
Yes, sir.
And you can find you on Facebook.
Yeah, at We Are Legend Hunters.
Yeah, man. And we got a story outside of Henderson County, Kentucky. And the investigator that did this story was Don Biggiefoot Neal, who's one of my favorite guests I have on my podcast. Henderson County witness. This was in July of 2011. Dustin was practically run out of the woods by a possible Sasquatch. His wonderful and experienced coon dog was completely ruined from this experience and would never ever hunt again. In fact, the man had to give the dog away. His girlfriend, who was with him during this sighting, is today his wife and backs his every word. What do you think about that story?
I think I've heard many stories of hunters been running out of the woods, and I tell you, if you ruined a good coon dog, it ran into something that ruined a good coon dog, then it was something serious. Those animals are very passionate about what they do, and they don't normally back down from much of anything that I've seen. The hunters' accounts are some of the most fascinating. They get the best up close personal views of them sometimes. And unfortunately, it sounds like, the man lost a good coon dog. The animals, luckily, they stayed safe, and he's just got a great story to tell.
Absolutely, man. And have you ever heard of a story happening like that and somebody had to get rid of their coon dog?
No, I've never heard of anybody getting rid of one because of it. I have heard of a dog getting ruined, and it was a very well-seasoned dog that got ruined. Like an 8-10-year-old dog, been doing it its whole life, got ruined to where he wouldn't even leave the dog kennel when they go out at night. They'd pop the door. Normally, he'd go load himself up, and after that, the dog never would get out of that kennel again coming nighttime. He'd stay in that kennel and wouldn't come out.
Did the guy's dog actually chase after Bigfoot? Did they actually physically see him chase after Bigfoot, their coon dog?
No, what the story was that they were hunting. The dogs sound like they bayed up on something for a moment. Thought they struck track or actually got up on, ran maybe into a coon on the ground or something. That stopped. They were going that direction. They got over to where the dog should have been. Couldn't find the dog. Continued to look, and finally, we'll come back in the morning and see if we can find him. Went back to truck, dogs in the dog box, and wouldn't come out.
Wow, man, you run a good coon dog, Bigfoot.
Yeah, if you know coon hunters, buddy, they think a lot of their dogs, and if something like that happens, I can imagine the coon hunter was not happy.
Yeah, definitely them dogs seen something. And them dogs are intelligent enough to know if that's Bigfoot or not. I mean, Bigfoot definitely would intimidate a dog for sure.
Yeah, you wish you could hear the dog story.
Yeah, they definitely had an eyewitness view.
Definitely.
Well, this has been the Mysterious Appalachian Mountains with Seth and Earl. David Mills, I appreciate you being on, man. And tell the people about your Bigfoot team.
We're out Indiana. You can look at us on Facebook at We Are Legend Hunters. We don't do a whole lot far as YouTube and podcast yet, but that's coming up. We just share our adventures. We don't only look at Bigfoot, we dogman, UFO stuff, ghost. We even look for treasure. So that's what our group's all about. We don't just focus on one thing in particular.
Absolutely, man. And this has been the Mysterious Appalachian Mountains with Seth and Earl. Appreciate Bigfoot researcher, dogman researcher, everything cryptid researcher, David Mills, for being our special guest. And y'all have a good night, and God bless.
From the heart of Appalachia, located under a shopping mall near the city that moves mountains, you're listening to Here to Chew Bubblegum with Goose and Dirty Dan.
All right. Well, I have a question for all three of you. Nostradamus, zombie apocalypse prediction. Gertie, we'll start with you.
I'm trying to remember that particular one. Refresh me on what year and he was supposed to say. You know what I mean?
It's that's the one I thought of. It is supposed to be this year.
Oh God!
And it was talking about I don't even remember. I mean, I've read it on the show a couple of times. But I don't remember what quatrain it was.
I can't remember.
Well, Beagle, I'll start with you then while I look that up for Gertie.
Just like my overall thoughts about.
Yeah.
I truly believe whatever we want to say about our government, I think they would handle a zombie apocalypse. So you think it's real? You think it's real and that they would just take care of it? I'm saying that they would look at it the numbers way. Yeah. Say, like, if the outbreak happened and it was first, patient 0 was in said city, that a huge quarantine would go on and then they would just probably nuke it. Quarantine, you say? Yeah. Now, this is my theory.
Are you being totally serious? You really think the government would protect us in a zombie apocalypse?
I'm not saying to protect us. I mean, they would handle it.
Okay.
If they truly
He's a big extreme prejudice, is that what
he's a big believer in military power. My theories my opinion on Nostradamus is a broken clock is right twice a day. Yeah. I can write a bunch of stuff, and eventually, especially if I'm not specific about it, I'm going to get something right in the future. You know what I'm saying?
Well, yeah.
And I just don't know. I've never been a big fan of Nostradamus. I don't really believe in all of that. I've seen his stuff, especially the stuff they say, was about 9/11, the two brothers and the city fall. But if he's so good, let me know ahead of time. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't wait until it's over with and then I have to go back and figure out how it worked. I mean, on the other hand, The Simpsons probably got more right than... Yeah, I'd look towards The Simpsons more than Nostradamus.
So, Gertie, I just showed you what his quatrain was after you read that. What do you think? Have you read that before?
No, I haven't, which I need to start reading more things if I can help it, but that's not school-related. It seems to me, I mean, like, did the Mayans, was somebody dyslexic? Like, did they...
It's possible.
Instead of 2012, it's 2021.
It could be, and there's a lot of people that claim that's the reason there's so many Mandela effect stuff yet, is that we did transition through a way and we didn't realize it, But no, we're not in a computer program,
Allegedly.
No.
Allegedly.
You think we're in the Matrix?
No, it's
is that what you're thinking?
It's all a program, man.
What's the correct terminology for it? I can't think of it right now. We've talked about it on the show before. Eli's talked about it. Justin's talked about it.
Simulation theory?
Yeah. The simulation theory. I don't think that's real.
It's a fourth dimensional being actually operating all of this right now. Well, I mean, the simulation theory, I don't believe it's real either, but we have games now that people here have created, and especially with artificial intelligence. Yeah. What is going on there? You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't believe it either, but it's a weird thing to think about sometimes. And I think, I see all these mathematicians and all these people that are saying it's more and more
it could be true. What do they know that I don't know?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I don't know.
I mean, I think if we were in a simulation we would know it. I mean,
There would be glitches.
yeah, definitely.
Well, I mean, deja vu
Well,
But that's not necessarily a glitch. That's,
could be a glitch.
I mean, like,
Allegedly.
could be.
I mean, like, look, you'd look at that wall, and then all of a sudden, there would be like Minecraft stuff appear that would be, unpixelated.
I'm just saying,
and-
like maybe certain other phenomena, like that is the glitch. Like a UFO. That's the stage light. It's Truman Show. Oh wait, wrong weather effects. Turn it off, turn it back on. That's why sometimes it's like, oh, rain stops. Cloud, no clouds.
Yeah. I mean,
It's super cold. No, it's warm.
well, then,
Kentucky is the biggest simulation ever.
His first day on the job.
Well, then-
us at a very level.
yeah.
He's
If we
over there
were
hitting everything.
in the simulation theory, how would you explain the awful anime stuff?
Yeah, there you go. I
How would I
agree.
explain that? That's the reason why I'm here. They put me here for that. And that's why that segment died.
It lasted twice, I think, maybe.
Barely twice.
-1.
0.0.
And it's gone. It's gone now.
I just remembered that was a horrible day.
So, if you had to pick who you would believe more, Nostradamus or Edgar Casey, who would it be?
Oh, Edgar Casey for sure.
I gotta go.
Kentucky boy. Got to go with Casey.
You all gave him a pretty hard time,
We didn't give him a hard time.
His dad's horse gave him his powers.
Yeah.
His dad's horse is the main villain of that story, not us. I love Casey though. The thing I love about him is he hated the fact that all happened. Like, he did not want to be known as the sleeping prophet.
Right.
He didn't want to be known as a prophet at all.
No,
he thought it was horrible.
He didn't even charge anybody for readings.
No.
I mean, they could give donations at their own free will, but if you didn't, that was fine. He didn't
Right.
take a dime.
And it went so against his religious belief.
Yeah.
I mean, he was just like, he thought it was a work of, demons,
Right.
and he just didn't believe any of it.
I also like the story that he actually let a doctor check him out. If you remember, we read into that, but only one time.
Yeah.
For him because he found out that he was kind of actually, was it almost like judging, making fun of him
Yeah.
in a way.
Yeah.
He was
He
like,
was.
well, I'm just not going to come back here.
Yeah.
But then when he ended up, was that the one where somebody was over, I can't remember if it was New York, and he was supposed to tell what was wrong with them. And then they were late, and he was like, well, it's not, they're not, my voices haven't started yet.
I can't remember. I know what you're
I'm
talking
saying
about.
that he's running late, and they didn't know that person was running late, and then he finally got to where he was supposed to be, and then he was like, and told it.
Yeah, and it's something like that. I can't remember what it is.
And I think he was accurate, but he said he would never come back. He would never come back to the doctor to be evaluated because
Casey was, he's also from that Hopkinsville area where all those little green men showed up at that time. you
Yes.
know, like, I don't know. Casey's just that's a weird story. If you've never read about Edgar Casey, I suggest you read it because it's a neat story.
or if you want to go way back for that Elliot's article,
There you go.
Way back.
way back.
Now, some of his predictions too. I mean, have came true. At this point, 20 some years ago, about finding the secret room under the left paw of the Sphinx, and they did find that with ground penetrating radar and stuff like that. And they say now there's a whole another section, deep buried, and we could talk about that for hours. We're not going to, but because
his medical stuff is what blows me away.
yeah,
That's the good stuff. Like,
yeah.
But he was right. He believed too that if he ever got one wrong, that then all of it was wrong. That was his thing. It was like you had to get it 100% right, or it just wasn't true.
Are you aware of any that he did get wrong?
Yeah, I think there's some I can't tell you right off because I obviously I didn't do my research before I come in here, but there was a couple that people say were wrong. I don't know. I can't tell you right off the bat, but he had a lot of theories about Atlantis and where Atlantis would be located, and some of those I think ended up not being true. But I can't for sure say. So Edgar Casey Foundation, if you're out there listening, I didn't mean to besmirch our boy Edgar. I just don't know. I can't remember right off.
So, what do you have planned to do in the podcast in the new year? Are you going to be doing anything different? Are you going to be doing anything that you like right now that's going really good? Are you going to keep doing it or make it bigger or?
Well, I know that we are going to probably get more structured.
It's a big thing.
We have heard you, listeners, the Spooky Family Podcast.
We're going to try to shorten down the episodes and structure them just a little bit better. We're entering a very busy time in our life right now. Gertie actually has another job, so our ability to record is going to be very tested. But we're going to still try to get at least one episode out a week. We're going to try to make them shorter. We're going to try to make them more structured and to the point. We're going to try to
Sorry about that.
Yeah, sorry about that. Once we get started talking, though, we go way different directions sometimes. And some people love that. Some of our best stuff is when they're like, we just love it when you all just freestyle and go off on tangents. And we do too. I mean, that's just the way we are. We'll start a conversation in real life.
And it just flows that way.
And it just flows, yeah. And eventually, 3 hours later, we're like, what were we talking about? We can't remember where we started. But we also understand that for the podcast, that might be a little bit...
I'm guessing we're going to try to maybe go more back towards saving our first couple episodes.
Yeah, where we have a topic and we're going
more in
to...
depth into it. We have 2 episodes,
Yeah, we've done that before. I mean, we always have a topic, and for a while there, we were doing interviews. And I really like the interviews part, but we talked about maybe doing interviews as a separate show, not a separate show, but like released on a separate day, not as the main podcast.
Right. Well, have you thought about maybe putting part of the interview in the podcast and then doing like an uncut, unedited thing?
Yeah,
and just sticking it up.
We talked about maybe doing a Patreon.
Yeah.
Getting a Patreon going.
Them some sort of extra or more content.
Yeah, but with the Patreon, like we talked about, maybe branching out and doing different shows, like Beagle actually doing an anime show, Gertie doing one about Stephen King, and then I got a buddy that really wants to do a wrestling show too, and like maybe using that as our extra content where we would each do a show a month.
Let's see, there you go.
And throw that out there. We talked about that, and kind of like what you all are doing with Believe It or Not.
Right.
And, but it's just, again, we go back to the whole time because all 3 of us have real life jobs that have really big responsibilities.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, we record as much as we can. And we're hoping that the structure and short shows will give us time to do that. So that's what we're looking at. But as far as topics go, we really want to do one about Project Blue Book. We had a listener write in and ask us to do that. We really want to do one about
tulpas.
Tulpas, yeah. We'd mentioned tulpas.
What is that, like a Mexican food?
Yeah.
$9.99.
It's appetizers, yeah.
But we
That's
also
actually a they did a study over it. I'm not exactly sure what the study was called. The
Topless study.
What it was they got together and a group of people made up an imaginary person.
Okay.
And all of them
poltergeist
had
situation.
characteristics and everything like that. And the more that they believe, they were told to truly believe that person was real. And the more they did that, the more energy they gave it and fed it, it actually became a real entity.
like a ghost.
Really?
Yeah.
And they
supposedly.
that's what they believe Slender Man is.
Is it
It started out as a
Philip
creepypasta.
experiment?
The Philip experiment. Yeah.
The Philip experiment. That's what it was.
Yeah.
I think it was called the Philip experiment.
I believe so. What did you-
Allegedly.
Thank God for Goose.
But yeah, Slender Man is supposedly supposed to be
Yeah.
a tulpa. After so much of people putting true belief into it, this thing's real, this thing's real, this thing's real, it has become real through us believing it is.
There's a big theory that's the Men in Black stuff too. Is that Men in Black aren't real, but we've created. They started with the stories of one man, and then it moved out, and now it's gained prominence, and it's become real.
If I had to guess and vote the Men in Black, I would say probably 70% chance that they do exist.
Yeah, in some form.
Do I think that they're ultra government? I mean, I don't know, but I do think that they do exist, and they have clearance and can get into places that other people can't.
Yeah, I agree. Some of the other topics, weird, like the 27 Club in music. We were going to talk about that for a little bit.
The Green Children.
The Green Children, the Wool Pit. We were going to talk about that. Gertie, what was some other stuff?
I'm trying to remember. People ask us for like specifics that they wanted us to go back and do missing 411 stuff.
Yeah, do
again.
more missing 411 stuff.
Dreams.
Yeah.
Oh,
dreams.
and my favorite one, we are going to do a Christmas special with Krampus and all that stuff. The most famous ghost story of all time is Scrooge. Basically, like so. That's the thing that a lot of people don't know is that one of the biggest traditions, especially in Europe and Christmas Carol, I'm sorry, in Europe and places is telling ghost stories, at Christmas. That's a big thing. So we're going to talk about that a little bit too. But we've got some topics. We've got some stuff scheduled. Gertie keeps a list that of when and where everything's supposed to be.
We have went off.
We went off that list lately, but we have, and but that's like we weren't expecting to get the interview with Tanya. So once we got the Tanya Derenberger interview, like we went off list for that.
From there.
Yeah, and then right after that, we got an interview with Chris Sloan, or not Chris. Yeah, Chris Sloan. Mountain Mysteries was next, and then Christopher Epling was after that. And we didn't expect to get those interviews, boom, 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 right in a row.
But you did.
But we did. So we went with those, and a lot of people loved the interviews, but a lot of people also wanted to go back to the topic format. So we're trying to find a good balance,
a good happy medium.
Yeah.
So, and I can totally understand that. As far as trying to, that's like the anniversary shows that we just did. There were 2 parts, and in the second part there was more interviews and more segments than they were, Right.
And it's hard. I mean, it's hard to find something that makes us happy, that makes the listeners happy, that makes everybody happy. But because with us, I would rather just freestyle, like you said, just have a conversation, bring up a topic at the beginning,
and just
have a conversation and go with it. But a lot of people would rather, hear the information, and I get that too. I listen to those podcasts too,
and just our take on it.
Yeah, and just our take on stuff. So I understand that.
I know that we have our topics that we have planned, but I'm hoping that this our Halloween special goes over well, because I would like to do a lot more on-site podcast, us recording on-site,
right?
Yeah, because I think we have a couple more hopefully lined up.
We got a couple.
I don't think I can really disclose right now, but there's one in particular that I'm real excited about.
Well, you can tell me about it off the air.
Yeah, we will. Well, you're invited. So.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. You must not want anything to happen there. So.
Half the night you're okay, and then afterwards you have to test. Gotta go.
We hope, but yeah. And then other than that, other than podcast related, we really want to get the Eastern Kentucky podcast culture. We really want to get that out there.
And that's something me and you've talked about for a while. We've went back and forth, and I still think that Ear Candy Network would be the way to go.
I do too. I think it'd be awesome. I think it'd be a great idea.
Even if we took a website and just named it Ear Candy Network and just had a link and description to everybody's website.
Absolutely.
I think that would be a great idea.
Absolutely.
And I'm still waiting on your clip that I can load up and put on Pandora.
Oh yeah, okay.
So,
it will. No, listen. Sorry, it's been. We'll get that for you. We've got to record some stuff Monday for the Halloween special.
Okay.
And I'll make that a priority. Okay. I'll tell you what. We'll get
do
you
it with the TikToks.
We'll get you in. That's you, buddy.
A little bit more.
Well, I mean, you can send me whatever you want. If you want to send me 20 minutes, if you want to send me an hour, you send me that.
We'll
and
get
I
you,
will put that up.
All right, we will get you that. Monday night, we'll also crank out maybe one or two Elliot's articles.
What?
Yeah, we'll get those out for you too.
What?
Sorry about that.
You have said it on air.
I have.
You have manifested this
you listen to the show, you hear how many people have asked, when's Elliot's articles coming back?
I know, and I love those
When's
guys.
Elliot's articles coming back?
We'd really like it if those people who want Elliot's articles on Here to Chew Bubblegum would come over and talk to us on Spooky Family Podcast.
I am probably
trying to steal
pretty sure that they do. So.
Oh, I'm sure they do. I just like to hear more from them, though. I mean, email us, Elliot@spookyfamilypodcast.com. Yeah.
I'm going to be honest with you. Some of those people that email asking about you, those are the first times they've ever written in. Because with the email I've got set up, through the website and stuff. If somebody's emailed in and you email them back, it saves it. So you just click on one letter and it corresponds back to them. And a lot of those people, when I message them back, there's nothing there. So I have to physically look at what it is or copy and paste and put it in there, and so, those are like, people that I've never emailed before, but here's why I'm emailing about. Get Elliot's articles back on there.
Yeah, well,
season 2's coming soon.
It's coming. So. It's coming. We got we've got a plan for it. We just got to sit down and get it done.
Well, guys, I definitely appreciate it. I've held you on here almost 55 minutes plus the 2 hours that we did, and I know you're probably tired, but thank you very much for coming in the studio, and tell everyone once again where they can find the Spooky Family Podcast app.
We are on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Plus. You can go to our website at spookyfamilypodcast.com. You can email me at Elliot@spookyfamilypodcast.com.
Beagle at spookyfamilypodcast.com.
And Gertie at spookyfamilypodcast.com.
Or you can text us and leave a voicemail at 299-276-1961. That's not even it, is it? I think it is, though. I don't know. We don't say it so much.
So
fix it in post.
We'll fix it in post.
You won't fix it in post this time.
Oh, buddy. Wait. You'll have to fix it in post. We apologize for that.
You can email. You can email, like they said, or you can call, text, or leave a voicemail for the Spooky Family at 276.
I got them backwards.
299.
Okay.
1681.
I was close.
276-299-1681.
Yeah.
So
we don't ever do. We have the commercial recorded for that, so we just play it and we don't ever say it live on air. But
thank you guys very much for coming in. Again, this has been an exclusive interview with Elliot, Gertie, and Beagle, the SpookyFamilyPodcast.com. Be sure to check them out and show them some love.
It's now time for Believe It or Not with Justin and Goose.
Hello, I'm Justin Perkins, and some of the best things in life just aren't quite believable.
Jot 'em down, store. Love from Abner. I'm Goose, and welcome to Believe It or Not with Justin and Goose.
You doing all right today?
Yes, I am. I am doing good. It's raining outside, but I'll take that over snow any day because I know that's just a few months away. We are officially in October.
Yes, I'm a fall guy.
Have you got your Halloween costume yet?
Well, actually, the last minute change. My son and I we usually do a Halloween party at the house. My son and I have been planning on Harriet and Lloyd from Dumb and Dumber, the orange and the blue tuxes, and he's kind of backed off of that. So if he goes with something I can't find a good match to, I will probably just fall back on another professional wrestler like I usually do.
There you go. I thought you had a mask on today. I apologize for that.
Well, I do wear the Beetlejuice mask a lot at the house. So
today we're going to talk about IBM and the Nazis.
It's a very, this story is one of those things that there's certain elements about the rise of Hitler and the Nazi Party that a lot of people forget, like him being named Times Man of the Year, and a lot of countries, including the U.S., endorsing him in those early years. It was a tricky go there at first with him.
Yes, it was. And before we get started, we always say this on here at Chew Bubblegum: Nazis are bad, but they were brilliant in technology. They were far, far advanced ahead of us. And even some of their stuff today is still bypasses our stuff.
That's true, but this is one of those few times, it's one of those times I enjoy where they had to really fall on an American company for some help.
Yes, they did. And we're talking about IBM. And for those of you that aren't familiar with this story, I'm going to briefly read just a little bit about it. Newly uncovered Nazi-era documents shed light on an alleged role IBM played in helping Hitler to carry out the Holocaust in Poland. According to the author of a controversial book on the subject, investigative reporter Edwin Black, the author of the book entitled IBM and the Holocaust, puts forward further evidence to support his claims of IBM's knowledge and complicity in Nazi operations in wartime Poland.
I looked into this guy a little bit. Not the most credible of sources,
no.
it appears. And I found some interesting little things kind of involving other United States companies that were involved or at least business-wise were in bed with the Nazis early on.
The story goes on to say that historians working as part of Black's research team said that in the paperback, they had pieced together previously fragmented story of IBM's role in supporting the organizational machinery used to transport millions of people to Polish death camps. Basically, IBM was supposed to make some kind of machine or software.
Like a punch card.
To help keep track of people that they were putting in concentration camps.
Yeah, they did it obviously in Germany, but then when Germany overtook a couple of other countries, they did the same thing there. I don't remember exactly which country it was it worked so well in. It might have been Poland possibly, but there was already an infrastructure of that in place with the punch card deals, and when they done the census, I think the death rate was like 75%, as opposed to another place, I think it was France. They didn't have that in place. It kind of backfired on them. Their census wasn't really good, and they had 350-some thousand Jewish people living there, and I think the death rate was only like 25% because apparently for all their intelligence in other fields, Nazis aren't real smart at tracking people, and they kind of missed the boat. So, you know, the technology obviously helped them somewhat.
Yeah. Let's see. Though IBM has never directly denied any of the evidence, this is a part that I found a little bit interesting. They've never denied any of the evidence posed by the book. They have criticized Black's research methods and accused him of drawing his own conclusions. IBM claimed that it does not have any other information about the company during World War II, and it argued that most documents were destroyed or lost during the war.
Well,
what do you find?
Go ahead.
I was just going to ask, what's your response to their response?
Well, I didn't find anybody else denying it either. It was pretty clear they did it.
Yeah.
I think what probably, you know, as looking at as a modern company, looking back, obviously that's not something you wanted to be associated with. General Motors was associated with them as well. Early on, you know, before any of the real racial aspects of the Nazi Party come kind of to light. And also you got to look that the Nazi Party stayed pretty strong, having some members in the U.S. even after that. But still, before that come to light, you know, like I said, everybody thought Hitler was the greatest thing to ever walk the face of the earth until they saw his true colors. So I can understand a company getting involved with the rising economy at that point, and you know, it's business. I understand that. A lot of the issue with the IBM stuff is a lot of the German censuses were already done using, the way I understood it, some of their technology and stuff that they had in place, but IBM wasn't openly, you know, kind of interacting with it. Then this guy from IBM goes over, wins a medal from them. You know, it's pretty clear what they're doing at this point. They definitely were way past the point they should have pulled out, and were given opportunity to pull out and didn't. So it is a black eye on that person and those people running that company at that time. And any profit they made was dirty money. And I understand these people today trying to distance themselves from those people. But, you know, to be fair, I can't associate these people today with those people. There's a lot of time, you know, went between that.
Right. You know, you're actually right. You know, and if it wasn't for some of the Nazi scientists, we never would have went to the moon.
Oh no, I mean, and a lot of the great scientists we got were not utilized by the Nazis because they were Jewish. They were actually removed from their positions. When the Nazis took over, they removed doctors, physicians of any type, scientists, teachers, lawyers, anybody of Jewish descent from that. So we actually got a lot of. And I think those are probably some of the first scientists we got from them, were the scientists that were able to escape or able to get out. And I could be butchering this because for whatever reason I can't place the year exactly, but I believe Einstein escaped Nazi Germany and came here.
Yes. I think you are correct there. This is a little off topic, but I want to ask you this before on the scale, if we believe it or not. Do you think Hitler escaped?
You know me, I'm not a huge conspiracy theory guy, and this is probably going to throw you for a little bit of a loop. I think if you were given a 1 to 10 on what I think you would say I'd probably give you an 8 that he didn't escape. I'm going to give you a 3 that he didn't escape.
Really?
I believe he did possibly make it out. I believe most definitely most of his upper echelon guys made it out, made it to South America, but to me there seems to be a lot of evidence that if he wanted to and he took advantage of it and did not commit suicide, he easily could have gotten out.
I think he did get out because, and we've talked about this before. I think you've been on the show and we've talked about it. They had a dental assistant draw a picture of his teeth.
Yes.
And that's what they used to identify the body by. I mean, that right there sends up huge red flags for me.
Well, what ended up being our greatest enemy to come out of that war, Russia, found him. And I'm not even saying we wouldn't have done the same thing. Here you go. This perfectly staged, planned event of a murder-suicide's right here in front of you. You going to say it's Hitler's body? Of course you are.
Yeah, but, I mean, you're if it in fact is, you're going to take pictures. You're going to work the scene. That's...
And if someone wanted to do that, if somebody in his position wanted to do that, and they would need worldwide contacts, and they need a lot of people in business and other facets of life to help them, and a story like this IBM story lends itself right to that. He had connections.
Yes, it does. So, do you believe that the Nazis had not the Nazis, but IBM? Do you believe this story?
100%.
Okay.
It's a 10 out of 10.
Okay. Now, the second part to that, and this may not be fair to ask, do you think IBM knew what they were doing with the technology that they leased to them?
That's hard to tell. And that's one of the things IBM kind of attacked this guy for, is he's outright saying they knew what it was being used for. The thing about looking back on anything is hindsight's 20/20. It's hard for me to say that they knew. Now, this is an uncomfortable thing for a lot of people, and, it's a sad thing, and I'm not accusing them of this, but I will say this. I believe there were most definitely companies in the country at that time, because most of this happened before the United States entered the war. There were a lot of people in the country at that time, and there were a lot of organizations in the country at that time that most definitely would not have had much of a problem with what Hitler was doing, because a lot of the facts about the death camps didn't come out until kind of it was used as propaganda to get people into the war. It was like, oh yeah, but wait, he done this, and I don't think a lot of Americans knew what was going on. So even if they did know, there are certain people around that time, and there would be today.
Right.
I mean, there's bad people at any point in time, but there were certain people around that would have done it anyway. And, I don't know these people personally, so I can't say that they did. And the evidence kind of bounced back and forth on it. So I would, I'd have to go a 5.
Okay.
I'm 50-50 each way. It wouldn't surprise me if it were true, but there's not enough evidence to really see it.
And for starters, I do agree with you. 10 out of 10, they did lease them this technology. And you're going to 5. I'm going to say 6 that they did know and continued doing business.
There's times I lean that way. Like I said, I can see it being very possible.
Well, I want to thank everyone for tuning in to Believe It or Not with Justin Perkins of Talking Junkie and me, Goose, of Here to Chew Bubblegum. You can email us at Believe It or Not, spelled KNOTT, at heretochewbubblegum.com.
Take a lighter look into the darker side of the world. Join Elliot, Gertie, and Beagle as they jump into the dark abyss of hauntings, fables, UFOs, and beyond. The Spooky Family Podcast. You can find them where you listen to quality podcasts.
You can always call, text, or leave a voicemail for Here to Chew Bubblegum at 606-373-3396.
And welcome back. Great interview with Elliot, Gertie, and Beagle of the Spooky Family Podcast. Again, thank you guys very, very much for coming in and being on the show. Dirty
and
Dan.
Thank you for being supportive of us.
Yes.
Though you spun off, thank you for your support. Thank you for your friendship. Thank you for your kindness. And it was an absolute pleasure getting to meet and know you guys.
And thank you for the cake. Dirty Dan, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Rub it in. You know, I'm just going to say one thing.
What's that?
I haven't mentioned something in this episode.
Yes, you've not. And
so moving right along to prevent that from getting brought up, we have transitioned last week, and this week again we will be talking about Carbon Capture Shield, who is the brainchild, love child, the project, the creation of our Ingersoll Lockwood rep, Daryl J. Nicky II. DJ is quoted in saying Carbon Capture Shield intends to transform 1 billion acres of Earth into regenerative land that restores the health of our natural environment, starting in all of your backyards. By restoring the biological life in the soil, we jumpstart the natural process which sequester greenhouse gases, break down pollutants, all while feeding and protecting your lawn from below. You can check them out at lawn.carboncaptureshield.com. Again, that is lawn.carboncaptureshield.com. And if you go over there and you get yourself a VIP spot, be sure to tell DJ and the team that your friends Goose and Dirty Dan and Here to Chew Bubblegum sent you over.
Very well said, my friend. Also, don't forget about the
Till Valhalla Project, TVP. You can check them out at tillvalhallaproject.com. Donate, volunteer, buy, spread awareness for that message, tillvalhallaproject.com, and go to YouTube, AWP, check out Adventures with Purpose or adventureswithpurpose.com.
I want to say special thanks to Carlin for all the voiceover work. Be sure to check out and support our friends with their own shows. I'm talking about CK and Uncle Bill over at deadpit.com. Talk Junkie with Justin Perkins, Jordan and Brad of Down on the Holler, Seth Amburgey with Seth's Daily Podcast, Elliot, Gertie, and Beagle of SpookyFamilyPodcast.com. Don't forget about the Mountain Mysteries Podcast with Chris Sloan. And if you miss Cronkite, he's now known as the Paranormal Trucker. You can check him, Snowman, and Large Marge out over at paranormaltrucker.com, and they're also on YouTube. If you want to awaken more, search Rebecca Short on TikTok and Honest Rebecca Thoughts on Twitch. You can also visit here to chewbubblegum.com and click on links, and you'll be able to find her and track her down and all that good stuff. We're very blessed to have Rebecca part of the Here to Chew Bubblegum family as well.
Did you guys did you let them know about Honest Rebecca Thoughts with Goose and Rebecca?
I have before, but I haven't this show. Every Friday morning on our YouTube page, we drop a show called Honestly Get Real with Goose and Rebecca, and that's where we get on and we just sometimes we rant, sometimes we talk about important stuff. There's been a few times that we've took calls. I'm going to get Rebecca on you. But you can check that out. It drops every Friday mornings at 8 a.m. on our YouTube page.
I won't complain about that.
Honestly, Get Real with Goose and Rebecca. That'll do it for this week. We'll see you next week. And until then, so long for now.
Maybe I'm not leaving. Maybe I'm just going home.
Thanks for listening to Here to Chew Bubblegum. Tune in next time as we dive deeper into things the government doesn't want us to know.